Welcome to our podcast, Untangled Roots. Have you ever asked yourself the question, why am I here? Well, if you have, welcome to the starting point of the best part of your life. Hi, I'm Jamie.
And I'm Cassie. Join us as we share our perspective from our personal journey of untangling from everything that we're not. Let's go, truth seekers. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome back.
Hey. Untangled Roots. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Cassie.
And today we are in our, the fourth week or third week of December, which is, as you all know, is celebrating self, celebrating you. The theme is celebration.
I don't know if it's just the holidays, 'tis the season,
Woof.
but it's been an interesting one for processing for both of us, honestly. And today we're kind of in it thick, and we kind of made a promise to ourselves and our listeners that we're going to show up regardless of how we're feeling.
100%,
right?
We're doing that.
And the reason is because life is not always peaches and cream, right?
No. I don't know if it ever really is.
I don't think it... Well, there's
moments of joy, but
with the whole image of, oh, these people have their life together, da-da-da, like success, all this stuff. Success doesn't mean that you're not going to have hard days, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we're nearing the end of 2023, we thought it'd be kind of cool to just like celebrate some progress and encourage you guys to do that, because honestly, like as the year's ending and we're kind of like going into the projection of the new year, I feel like a lot of people have put a lot of pressure on themselves. Jamie, to set goals and to really be on top of it. And I think that honestly, what's coming to me right now is that I feel like if a goal doesn't come naturally and you're just like hounding yourself for goals, like it's like, is that even actually a good thing? Like, I don't know. Like, I feel like, to me, I feel like if a goal doesn't come, it means that I have blockages in my creative space.
100%.
And so if your creative space is blocked, what can you do? Right? To loosen up that creativity, you got to figure out what your blocks are. What's blocking you from your creative flow? And that's going to be looking at your life. Looking at, where in my life do I feel insecure? Right? We all have different insecurities, and I feel like insecurities really harness a lot of shame and stuckness and honestly lack of progression. So that's the same as stuckness, but like basically, like if you're not living in a way where you feel safe, secure, and wholesome is kind of the word that's coming in every area of your life, there's going to be little hiccups and there's going to be little things that if you feel a roadblock, a good idea would be to kind of go down that path and iron it out. I'll give you an example. I don't know. I guess this is kind of where I'm going.
Yeah, you're kind of rolling with it.
Yeah, is it good?
Okay. I'm listening.
Okay, so just kind of like one of the things that I have really struggled with and now I'm choosing to celebrate is with my weight loss journey this year. So starting in April, I had a baby. And with that pregnancy, I gained more weight than I ever have in my life. So first of all, when you gain a bunch of weight, like that kind of like changes your image for yourself, right? Like you think you're one way, but then all of a sudden your body's like, wait a minute, something's weird. Like my joints hurt, And so I'll just be completely transparent. Like I've never weighed, even going to deliver my baby, never really weighed over 200 pounds. And so when the scale tipped 233 and bringing this baby girl to the world, it was quite alarming to my system to like see how that number affected my security with self. Mm-hmm. Right? Whereas if I didn't even have a scale, it's like, yeah, maybe I would feel a certain type of way, but like you know what I mean? Like it wouldn't really affect me as much as knowing that, oh, this is how much it is, right? And so I was like, you know what? I'm just going to hit it hard and I'm going to do what I know how to do, and I'm going to change this reality. Mm-hmm. And so I set a goal And my goal was to shed 50 pounds by Christmas. Okay? Of course, I went through the healing of after having a baby. It takes about 6 weeks before you can even actually exercise, right? So it's like, I didn't actually start this until like the first week of July, honestly. So it's been what? July, August, September, October, November, so about 6 months, okay? Mm-hmm. About 6 months I've been going at it hard. And Christmas is in
a week. Right?
Yeah.
Monday. Oh, well, less than a week.
Yeah. So I have 1 week. So this is just what I want to talk about. I have 1 week to hit my goal, okay? And that means that I need to let go of 10 pounds. So I've got 40 off, which is a huge accomplishment. Yeah. I should just be like, oh my word, like, are you kidding me? I should be so proud of myself. Like, that's 40 pounds, right? Yeah. But at the same time, it's like, no, that wasn't my goal. Yeah. My goal was 50 pounds, and that's not good enough, like my brain says, right? And so I just wanted to talk about this really quick, that, you know, as we kind of reflect on our year and go into the new year, like, regardless of how close you get to your goal, even if you don't hit your goal, there are those milestones along the way that you can kind of pull out and look at and celebrate. And I feel like that's honestly enjoying the journey, kind of like what Jamie has talked about before, is like, it's about the journey. We have to stop and celebrate every once in a while. Otherwise, we're just going to be so nose to the ground, grinding all the time, trying to get to a goal. And then what happens if you don't get to it? What are you going to do? Like, literally, what are you going to do? I want to know. I'm totally asking you. What are you going to do if you don't hit your goal?
I have a different problem than you.
Okay. See, that's good. That's good. I can't wait to hear it. Yeah. Okay, let me finish this up. I want to hear yours. Yeah. Okay, so
I just caught her off guard, folks.
That's cute. So anyway, so basically, that was kind of the point that I wanted to make, was that celebrating along the way, even if you don't hit the goal. I am not anticipating that I hit the goal, but hey, I haven't weighed myself in 2 weeks. So I very well could. She told me yesterday, hey, you're looking a little slim.
And I thought the same thing today.
What if I jump on there and I hit my goal?
Yeah.
Right? Like, there's a very big chance that I could. I'm not going to hold out for it, but I'm also not going to beat myself up if I don't. Because, you know, like, goals are just there to kind of keep us on track. We can't have them be our, you know, end all be all, or else it...
Yeah, 100%. 100%. And I think that that's really interesting that you are very clear at setting goals. Ever since I met Cass, and I think in our last episode, we interviewed Brandon and he taught us about gems. And I think that Ruby, that's her Ruby, is what I perceive. Yeah. She's always had goals. The amount of challenges, challenges that this person has signed up for to take on. Oh. You just what I've learned about you is like you just plow through goals. Like you set them and you go after them. I'm not saying you waver from them. I'm saying you see them differently. So when I say that I have a different problem, what I mean by that is that I struggle to even know where to begin with setting a goal, or what feels like I anchor in a goal. So like I go through the process of goal setting, or I like that. So that's what I'm saying. It's a different thing. Like, so yours is like you set one and you're obtaining it, or you're at least making progress on it. Whereas like my progress looks completely different, or like my process of like setting a goal.
Yeah. So I'm just super curious, like with that, have you ever like considered that maybe your process of setting goals might be, you might be starting at a place where your creativity can't breathe? I don't know why that's coming to me like that. Like basically, like for me, goals start with desire.
100%. Yeah, and I definitely have been doing my own. I feel like that's what I feel like I'm following my intuition, in the sense that like I trust that the goals will come, and like the desire will come, and it's just a matter of like creating the space for me to for them to be able to come. So just because I can't necessarily set them, I have an idea of the direction I want to go with my life. I have an idea of what I want to do in 2024. Just because I took myself through a 2023 review where I went through and I took out all the wins from every single month and went from January all the way up through half of December. Which that's my version of progress. So like that was me looking at progress of like overall life.
Right.
And I'm trying to, what my process is currently doing is I'm trying to like look at that. I'm trying to look at those wins, analyze like the areas where I want to improve or where my intuition says, hey, like I want to improve this area in 2024. And then that's how I'm kind of going through the process of, I don't know.
Yeah.
Identifying where I want to go, I guess. So
yeah.
like that, which to me, the progress, when you say progress, what comes for me is that I sometimes struggle to put words to thoughts or words to things, which is ironic because I'm in such an analytical field and like as my job, I'm a project manager. So I have to be very structured or very like, I set the weekly meetings, I set the weekly statuses, I do all of these routines to pull the project forward. And I've learned so much from that, from the profession of being a project manager, and I'm learning to apply it to my life. But I do hear what you're saying. It's like there's this like missing, there's the process of like, okay, here's the structure, but where does the heart come out through it? Like where, like just because someone picks a project of weight loss, for example, like yours, for weight loss, my intention is to launch my coaching career in 2024. So like that's like the one clarity thing. It's like, well, I've always wanted to give this a go. So it's like that's my one area that I'm wanting to cultivate and like tend to in 2024 alongside my health. But yeah, so to me, like the way that I process is my progress.
Yeah.
I don't know if that means like creating my own process, creating my own system to allow the desire to come out. So yes, I hear what you're saying. To answer your question, if I feel like I'm blocked creatively, I feel like I'm just being patient in order for that desire to come up.
Yeah. Well, it's a process. And you can't honestly rush it, but I feel like taking time out of your day to focus on wins and like things that are going right in your life is extremely important, especially when I feel like, I don't know if I'd say I'm in a funk right now, but like it's like, you know, I'm in the part of my hormone cycle where it's not super fun. Like I'm not feeling super creative and like just ready to, you know, do an art project or something. And so I feel like during these times, in order to carry us through, like goals need to have, if you're not a goal person, it's like, because I've met people that say, I don't make goals. I don't set goals. I'm not a goal setter because I just get defeated if I don't make them, or, you know, like that type of a thing. Even if people don't have goals, people still have things that they're shooting for or aiming for, or right, like there's always something, right, even if it's small. And I feel like what I'm getting at is it's important to have these desires and things that we're aiming for, to have little anchors throughout the year or throughout the time period of when you want to arrive there. Go ahead.
What came as progress is that when you anchor in those points and you achieve those, that is you building self-trust. Like that is you achieving, like keeping, like there's many authors who talk about keeping small promises to yourself, and that's what like builds momentum, to where my personal trainer taught me, she told me like a couple weeks ago, she was like, we're not about falling in love with the end result. You're falling in love with who you are becoming in your process. Like you're falling in love with the process of setting it, which lines up perfectly with the progress. Mm-hmm. If we can value the progress way more than, you know, the end result that we might not be energetically attached to yet, or it might just be a site that we're setting towards. I think that's what just came. It's like that's how you keep promises to yourself, and the ultimate objective is do you feel heard by yourself? Do you feel taken care of by yourself?
Yeah.
Do you feel like you're progressing on your life, on your terms, and your heart, in what your heart says, in what you deem as deems as you're walking in integrity, like building your own confidence?
Yeah.
So that's what came when you were talking
Absolutely.
about that.
It's all relevant stuff. I feel like, honestly, like, if people have dreams or like people that aren't big on setting goals, like, think of it this way.
I love the process of it.
You do?
It's so fun. Yeah.
What just came to me is that, like, people, like, when you're a little kid, right? Like, you have, like, an innate goal inside of you for forward life, right? So it's like there's already these things planted in us when we're kids, where it's like, what do you want to be when you grow up, right? I want to be a firefighter, or whatever. Like, those things are already, like, things that are already built in us to get us thinking in that way, like prompting questions throughout our life. And I feel like some things that come to us naturally, where some people, when they're young, they're like, oh my goodness, I can't wait to get married and have a family. Mm-hmm. Some people are like, oh, I don't want kids. Like, and they know that from a very young age, which blows my mind. I'm like, how?
I know, when some people know stuff.
Yeah.
Like, my aunt is an example. She, like, knew when she was little she wanted to be a vet. And she, like, is a vet. Ever since she was little.
It's just crazy.
It blows my mind. Some people.
Well, it's like, I always want to be a mom. And I'm like, I'm just a mom. Like, what?
You did?
Yes. Isn't that funny? Like, whenever I wrote a book in 2nd grade, and it said, what do I want to be when I grow up? And it said a mom.
Interesting.
And it's like, isn't that funny?
Yeah.
Because what I was going to say is, some of those types of goals, though, and like dreams, are out of our control. Like, I could say I want to be a mom, but there could have been something preventing me from being a mom, right? Like, I could have not been able to conceive. And, like, right, there are people out there that have that type of goal and they can't get to that goal. Yeah. And without a lot of different steps and help and whatever else. I mean, I believe anything's possible, but, like, with that type of thing, I feel like I can understand how it can be defeating, and how it's like, how can I find celebration in something that is, like, such a defeating process, right? Because you're saying it's fun, but for some people it may be super defeating in certain things where they don't have much control over, right?
Yeah, well, and to be fair, I was not attached to the heart end goal. So the process, the creative process of what it means to apply for the heart to come out, but that's what it's hard to get the heart to come out. Yeah. And for someone to put their heart on the line with a goal and then to be vulnerable to it.
Mm-hmm. I know.
That's a lot. Like, that part, I'm not saying that I love that part. That part takes emotional intelligence, that takes grit, that takes patience, that takes love. So I'm talking about, like, I'm talking about the structure of that can be applied to anything is what I was talking about.
No, I totally hear your heart on that. I wasn't saying what I said against what you're saying. I was just alongside. But a thought just came to me of, like, also, it's okay for your goals to change. Mm-hmm. Even in mid cycle or whatever. Like, if, say, you have a goal for in 6 months and 3 months into it, you're like, this is not going the way that I thought it would. It doesn't feel right. Yeah. I'm just giving verbal permission for anyone that needs it. You have permission to pivot, right? One pivot that just happened to us, actually, is that 3 years ago or 4 years ago, I think it was, we made a goal to be debt-free 2023, like, completely debt-free, okay? And work towards it, right? Like, I think at the time the goal was made, the debt was, I'm just going to be completely transparent because we're talking student loans and everything at that time. At the time the goal was made, the debt was over $200,000. Or right almost at $200,000. That's like a house. We had no house, right? Okay, so as life went, projecting out, we're like, oh, that's a good 4-year goal. That's a lot of money to pay off and dissolve within 4 years. But it was like, we were motivated, we were wanting it to happen. Well, we can't see the future, right? We can't see how life was going to shift. We can't see how different things were going to be in the next few years. And do you see what I'm saying? To where it's like there's a lot of things that happened in the next couple years that made it to where it almost felt impossible. Like, I don't think, right? Well, then about 2 years ago, I was like, okay, that's still a goal. I reclaimed the goal. Even after the life got shook up, and I was like, I think this is doable. We can do it. And still working towards the goal. Okay. Now, 2023 ends in 2 weeks, right? And that was the goal, to be completely 100% debt free. End of 2023. And then 2024, we wanted to buy a house. Like, that was kind of the goal. And one progress celebration I'm going to say is that, was there progress? Absolutely. Was there pivot? Absolutely. And in this case, I feel like the pivot is 100% worth celebrating, because the way we pivoted was we used wisdom. We spoke with a few different people, some people that we trust, and the advice that we got was to basically save the money for a down payment for a house instead of paying off the van. So the progress, which is to be celebrated, is we got all the debt gone except for we owe on our van. And so we have all the money to pay on the van and completely be debt free, but we're choosing to pivot and save that money since the van's a lower interest rate. And anyways, a lot of details, but basically we're like, okay, like, now we have a down payment, and I'm like, okay, that just feels better. Mm-hmm. Would it have been awesome to be like, okay, 2023, like, because it rhymes, first of all, hello, debt-free 23, who wouldn't want that? You know what I mean? That's like so cool. Yeah. But then at the same time, it's like, is that my ego just wanting the title of that?
Well, I think you're pivoting to where it's like, ultimately, where's the strategy going?
Right.
Ultimately, what's the actual end game?
Yeah.
Like, where's your actual end game? Which is why I would say, along that lines, what came to me when you were talking is, I always value health goals.
Yeah.
Like long-term goals, like how far, just for like, where's the overall strategy of what sets you up the best.
Yeah.
For a good future. Yeah, that's really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah. So it's okay to pivot, guys. And I don't feel like I'm telling my ego to sit down, because I do feel my ego rising up sometimes, being like, oh, that'd be so cool. Like, but it's like, why would it be? So then I ask myself, why would it be cool? Is it cool just to experience being debt free? Because hello, that's cool. Or is it, I think it, honestly, I don't even know if it's just my ego, but like, there's a part of my heart that like, I feel like loves to celebrate and show people that it's possible. Because back, even 5-10 years ago, the thought of being debt free felt like a pipe dream. Is that a word? Mm-hmm. Like, it just felt like it was so far away. It was like, are you kidding? Like, that's not gonna happen in my lifetime. Mm-hmm. Right? And so then to be able to see that, like, we have a tangible thing that we could be completely debt free, but we're choosing not to be, mm-hmm. is huge. Mm-hmm. So we're celebrating.
Yeah.
Cue the music. No, I'm kidding.
That's really interesting. Like, I think like when you set what I just heard is like, when you set a goal and you pursue it for some time, and that you never know, like you said, you never know what's going to happen along that way. So it's like whatever that progress, whatever that time that you've eaten up, if you will, taken in, churned, processed, taken steps towards down that path. It's like, I just think that's cool that other really amazing opportunities come up along
right.
the way that you don't even know. So it's like, our minds, to me, it's like, I think like, it's like my intuition is telling me to go down this certain route, and I'm like, okay, I'm just trusting to follow this. Like, I can say coaching career, right? But I have no idea what's actually down that path, right? But it's like, this is where my intuition's leading me. This is where I feel the best. And it's just neat to pivot, and yeah, such a free space to trust self.
Yeah. So as we go through these next couple weeks, and, you're spending time with family and, celebrating Christmas, I just encourage you guys to just take some time for yourself and sit quietly with yourself and just ask yourself some harder questions of, where do I see myself in 6 months? Where do I see myself in a year?
How did my past 6 months go?
Right.
Because I started to go forward first, and then I was like, I don't know where I'm going because I haven't analyzed or looked at where I've been. So
interesting.
Yeah, so I was like, I didn't really have a sense of like my internal, like, check in with self, current state. What's my current state, and where do I feel like I need to shift and pivot from there? Yeah,
that's good. Yeah. See, we have different perspectives. Like, I would never feel like I have to look back. Like, I'm always like,
that's our difference. that's what I'm saying. The Ruby, who she just goes after.
Yeah.
But I don't have a sense. Some people like me, if you're more Emerald Pearl, if you resonated with that, sometimes you need a quieter space to like check in with yourself, and then you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I think that it's all good stuff, and.
Yeah, and I'm celebrating our progress for the listeners who are watching this episode. I think it's number 14. We've made 14 episodes of this podcast, and that is progress that I'm celebrating. Yes. That is massive progress to me, and that was something that when I was coming over here, I'm like, progress. Talk about progress. Talk about like a reason to celebrate. So, thanks for doing this with me.
Yes, thank you too, and thank you guys for listening and joining us. And we're grateful for all the feedback that we've gotten from you guys, and 100%. We would love to hear more. Like, if there's certain subjects you want us to dive into, we're not really scared. We'll share our perspective on something if you guys have any thoughts.
Yep.
So
and we're having our own little strategic meeting next week to plan for our next year and what our goals are for
Untangled Roots.
So any feedback that you want to share, we're more than open to it, and we appreciate you following us along this far.
We'll see you guys next time.
Bye.